Hey, Crown Council. I am Stuart Anderson. Welcome to Crown Council Live. Grateful to be with you and grateful to connect with our community today. This is our live broadcast that we do every week, Thursday at 11 o'clock Mountain Time, where we connect with our community, our resource partners, live events. We even have a team in the Dominican we're going to try to connect with. They do have cell service, so it'll be amazing if we can connect with them. But we have a lot going on today on the show. We've got Steve at Total Immersion. We have a resource partner live, and then we have our best doctor to work for who is also joining us live. So potentially Greg in the Dominican, which makes 4 live people on the event today, which will be, I'm not saying it's unprecedented, but it'll be a miracle if it all goes together and everybody joins when they're supposed to. So we do have Steve in the waiting room. He's kind of joining us. He's finishing up. He's wrapping up Total Immersion. So I'll just do some housekeeping items and everything until we see or hear from Steve. I wanted to talk for just a minute about Smiles for Life. We have kicked off and started. We're into week 1, and practices have started to send in money. People are doing whitening, and we're so grateful to kick off the 2024 Smiles for Life whitening campaign. This is crowncouncil.com. And I am logged in my account. And if you go to your directory, in the directory, you will see this right here, the 2024 Whitening Campaign. And this is the hub for all things Smiles for Life, whether it comes from submitting donations. You can see here over on the left, everything that you would need to know to participate in the Smiles for Life Whitening Campaign and to make it successful. So a few things that I wanted to highlight. Down here, we have added our preview software tool. Preview this year is allowing everyone in the Crown Council to use their product for 60 days free. And this is a treatment preview product where you can show your patients what they would look like with whiter teeth or any sort of cases that you wanted to include. Really fun and super grateful for our resource partner Preview, who is allowing this year. So I wanted to make sure you do that. You just click here, and this link will take you to a page where you have to sign up and get registered to participate. So pretty easy little system there. Another thing that I wanted to go to real quick is submitting donations. We've had a lot of questions about the online submitting of questions. So obviously, we do not encourage anyone to use the printed receipts anymore. So we don't want anyone doing the printed receipts. We want everything done online. And I'm going to show you how to do that. It's super easy. We do have some recorded videos if you wanted to watch those or participate in any of those easy videos to watch. But this is our online Smiles for Life contribution form. Really easy, easy to use. You will fill this out with a patient in the chair, and there's a few different ways that you can contribute. You can read these and select the right one. And then down here is a drop-down menu to make sure that you get recognized for the donation in your own practice. So you will find your name or your office's name and connect yourself with it. And then once you go past this first part, you'll be asked to either donate with a credit card, or you can upload the information from a check, which is super easy. And then that can be submitted to the Smiles for Life Foundation. One question that we often get is right here, whose email address do we put? So you can put the patient's email address, or you can put your office address to track and take care of which contributions are coming to you and which ones have gone through. So that's just a little suggestion. when it comes to using the Smiles for Life contribution form. All right, a few more things. Choose a charity champion. This is one thing that we really talked about last year a lot, and that's choosing a team member who is the leader of your team for Smiles for Life whitening. We have found over the years that the best offices choose a charity champion, and that charity champion is someone who is taking care of all the whitening orders, who is interfacing with your local charity, who is making sure that the marketing is in place, posts on social media, and this is often best done if it is not the doctor. The best person to do this is a team member who is committed and loyal and accountable to making sure that the Smiles for Life Foundation runs smoothly. So pick a charity champion in your office and put them in charge as the leader of Smiles for Life whitening in your practice. And that's a huge part of making sure that you're successful. I spent 20 minutes this morning with a team talking about how to choose a local charity. A lot goes into picking your own local charity when it comes to Smiles for Life. This is an incredible opportunity to bring new patients into Smiles for Life and into your practice and getting them engaged. Pick a local charity who you can be passionate about in your practice. Someone and something that will encourage not only your team but also patients to participate. This is an awesome opportunity to connect yourself to your own community and making sure that your team is committed to the Smiles for Life whitening campaign. So pick a local charity, and if you need our help, please reach out and ask. There's also some tips here for choosing your local charity. All right, that's it for Smiles for Life. One more thing I wanted to go through before Steve comes in. I hope he's almost ready. Steve, if you can hear me, just come in anytime. We're ready for you. So right here in the crowncouncil.com Premium Member Hub, if I click here, one thing that we have really worked hard on, and this is mostly Steve's scripts and his work, is producing our Skill of the Week videos. As you can see, there's almost 200 Skill of the Week videos inside this library. These are 2 to 3 to 4 minute skill training videos that can be used every week by your team in team meetings. Things like you can see here, the rhythm of your practice. We can go through some of these topics. Don't judge a book. Don't judge someone by their cover. A good one. Clean your vocabulary closet. So we encourage you, if you haven't used the Skill of the Week program, to do so anytime with your team. We are always producing new episodes once a week, and the library has almost reached 200. So super fun thing to be a part of. There's Mr. Steve.
Hey, good day.
Hey, how are you?
What's up, Stu? I am
What's
super
up?
good.
Good.
I am in Fort Worth, Texas. We just broke for lunch at Total Immersion. I am here with Dr. Brad Miller
Hey.
Texas.
Hey, everybody.
And we've had a great morning. We have a great morning, right, Brad?
It's been a great morning.
Brad has been on the front. Quick backstory with Dr. Miller. So Brad built an amazing practice in Columbia, Missouri, sold it a few years ago, moved to Texas, and is now starting a scratch practice.
Nice.
The practice of his dreams.
You know, it is coming together.
In League City, Texas, just outside of Houston.
Yeah.
And has got his whole new team here going through TOPS Total Immersion to get them all trained and teed up.
First order of business. Definitely.
So he's, and I'm Brad, real quick to share, one of the things that I love about what he's done, Brad's been part of a Crown Council mastermind group for
12 years.
12 years. Mm-hmm. And I gave the mastermind group the specific assignment last year.
Yeah.
The mastermind group got the opportunity to design every aspect of Brad's practice. He had a lot of great insights on his own, but they gave him all of their collective insights. I'm sure that's probably like hundreds of years worth of experience.
I think, yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're a bunch of gray hairs, but you know, we've seen it, we've done it. And, you know, the main thing that I got from him, of course, lots of great ideas, and we do our pearls with each other all the time, but just the encouragement, not just from my mastermind group, but from Steve, and also, of course, from my wife. I mean, everybody said, you can do this. And, you know, to do a startup practice after 30 years and all that, I thought, well, let's see what happens. I've got the tools, I've got the experience, I've got the mentors, and I jumped in, and here we are, 3 months old, but it is working. It is really
Nice.
working.
Very
Biggest
cool.
lesson learned so far,
Uh,
or
just
realized, or
don't, yeah,
reinforced.
just believe in yourself. Believe if you've got the tools and you have, and copy genius, then you can do it. You can absolutely do it.
Nice.
So we've got thank you, Brad. We got a
Absolutely.
great group here
I
from.
feel like we need Brad on for a little more. Brad's got to come
do.
back for, we need a
Yeah,
full
we
interview
need to do
there.
like a whole
Yeah.
deep dive into the new practice experience, because he's had the opportunity to implement everything that he's done, and some great lessons along the way as well. So we've had a great
Cool.
morning here.
Good.
Practices from all over the country, doing a deep dive into total patient service skills, case acceptance. It's been a great morning. We got a day and a half left to go,
Nice.
and going good.
Steve, when teams participate in total immersion, I know that this might seem like a silly question, but do they come back? Repeat offenders. I go ahead.
So, the one of the real heartwarming experiences I'm having today is Dr. Charles Pybus is here. Dr. Pybus has been in the Crown Council for 30 years. He was one of the original members from Amarillo, Texas. He's been through this course. He started coming to dental boot camp before updated and did the brand change. He has team members here that have been with him for 10, 20 plus years. He just retired, a 42-year tenured hygienist. So some of his team have been through total immersion 6, 7 times. And one of the things I really appreciate about what they're doing here is they've all come back again, and they are initiating and training their new associate, who will eventually become the practice owner.
Cool.
So Dr. Daniel Nash, who is a native of Amarillo, who has joined their team. So he's going through total immersion for the first time with the support of the entire team. So it's not just the ones who haven't been, it's the entire team's going back through the entire experience all over again, cheering Dr. Nash on as he gets, as Dr. Pybus said, we brought him to drink the Kool-Aid to get indoctrinated in how to do everything, how to do it right, how to treat patients, how to provide amazing patient service and create a culture of success. So yeah, the answer to your question, Sue, is
very big yes.
Yeah. 21st Century Dental is here. Dr. Jeff Roy, he's got all of his new team members here with some veterans. What he does in his practice is every new team member goes through total immersion within the first 3 to 6 months of coming on board. They come through this as basic training for how they do things in their practice.
Smart.
Kids Tooth team, Dr. Alex Otto, her team is here. Their new team members are here with some veterans. I could go around the room, but yeah, lots of for many practices around the country, this is part of their success formula. So fun to have everybody here, the veterans as well as the new. I'll tell you a fun one, Stu, that's here is Dr. Jamie Sled, who leads our legacy mastermind group. And Jamie sold her practice last year in Minneapolis. And one of her lead team members, Carla, who had a family transition that moved her to Florida through some Crown Council connections, Carla is now here with her new team with another Crown Council office. So she's here with them, walking them through the whole process. With Dr. David Benson, his whole team. So she is shepherding the new team members here. So fun stories all the way around the room. I could take the whole Crown Council live cast and tell you about every single situation. But fun background and teams that are committed to providing the best service for their patients. And we're showing them how.
I love it, Steve. And I know this, I don't even want to bring it up, but I love that we're we're live and we have forgotten about what it was like to not. It's so good to be together and to see people enthusiastic about being together in meetings. I think it's the best. So way to go.
So, one last thing, Stu, on this is we actually have this course, Total Immersion, online next Friday, so a week
Okay.
from tomorrow. The teams can participate in remotely. We've continued doing that post-COVID for convenience for teams that want to catch up. And there's nothing that substitutes for the in-person live experience. It's just the networking and the idea exchange and the exercises we do. It's not just sitting passively in the audience and listening. There's a lot of doing that takes place here. As we say, knowing is not doing, doing is doing. And so we're doing a lot of doing here over 2 days so that everybody is trained up at a higher level to provide amazing patient service.
Great. Thank you, Steve. And we'll see you next week for our lucky webinar. Can't wait.
You got it. Live from Fort Worth, Texas. Next Thursday is going to be a fun experience. Ramping up to St. Patrick's Day, we are going to do the 13 ways to increase your case acceptance luck.
I'm going to do the whole thing in an Irish accent, Steve.
Hey, there you go. Yeah. But everybody ought to tune in for that. It's going to be just packed with great ideas of how you can improve your case acceptance based on the work that we're doing all over the country with practices that are performing at a top level. So looking forward to lucky St. Patrick's Day week.
Thanks, Steve. Sounds good.
Okay.
All right,
Thanks,
man.
everybody.
Okay,
All
bye-bye.
right. Bye.
All righty, everybody. Very fun to hear from him live. I've had a Diamond Head Dental Labs. They have been waiting in the waiting room for quite a while, the last 15 minutes. So let's see if they're still smiling. Oh, they are. I'm glad I didn't forget about you. Don't I didn't know when Steve was going to join us. So grateful for your patience running a live show. Thank you guys. Welcome. So Diamond Head Dental Labs is with us today. I can't remember if this is our first time having you on the live stream or not.
I think it's our second
time.
We were on it shortly after we became a resource partner.
Okay.
Maybe 8 months ago, something like that. So it's been a little while.
Very good.
But
Hey,
yeah.
and a very specific reason to have you guys on today. I have a little graphic, but before I show it, maybe let's just dive right into it. Let's talk about what's coming up, this event. I think, is it on the 21st? You guys want to introduce what's happening on the 21st?
Yeah, we're having our next CE event on the 21st. We took a break just for a moment over the holiday season, and things are ramping up again with our CE courses. So this one will be on the 21st of March. All of our events are live Zoom they're live and Zoom at the same time, which is a unique thing that we do. But it's great for the people who can't travel or are joining us from a distance. They can hop on. And it's interactive for the Zoom participants also. They can stop and ask questions. So it's been a really great thing, for everyone. But 21st at 6 o'clock, those who come live will be serving dinner. It'll be a really great event.
And
We're
tell
excited.
I know we've got some of the objectives here, but maybe talk about what happens. What will everyone learn at the event?
So with what's going on in the industry right now, digital is really becoming more and more prominent. And I think, our patients are expecting that kind of technology more and more right now also. So we're going to cover specifically a lot of time on dentures. So at the annual event, this will be a follow-up to that presentation we gave at the Lunch and Learn.
Okay.
There's going to be a lot more to that presentation, but we'll review some of the things we talked about there. And then just a lot more. We're going to go over all the material science, all of the things that are on the market that are good and not so good. So a lot of really great information. We'll talk about why we print on carbon printers. So Carbon will be here with us. Andy's going to be presenting with us. So it's just going to be really great. These types of events, I think we get a lot of questions because there's so much information out there about technology. And I think it's really important to know where we're at in the industry and what we should be doing with it, and maybe where those rabbit holes are that we shouldn't go down. So
it makes me nervous. How is a live and Zoom event? How are you? Do people on Zoom really ask questions? Yeah.
Well, Landon, I just look at him because he does it all. Maybe he can tell you a little bit about that.
Okay, let's do
Yeah,
it.
if there's participants who have questions, they raise their hand in Zoom, and then I'll stop the event. I'll repeat the question live, and then they can interact with the speaker that way. So
Very
yeah, it's
cool.
really cool. It's really fun. Good for both live and Zoom.
That usually, I have never heard an event do that. That's rare. So
Well,
very good.
Let's be all glad we're down the road a couple of events.
Yes.
The first couple we had some technical issues, but we got it worked out to where it's really smooth. It's pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
It took us a minute though, or it took not us, Landon. It took Landon a minute.
Yeah.
So when Diamond Head Institute teaches, how do you guys pick the topics? I mean, how are you deciding and vetting what information is being taught?
That's a really great question. There's a twofold. We really listen to the doctors that are asking us questions. So sometimes we'll get bombarded with a lot of questions, in a short period of time. And we realize that that's a hot topic within the industry or the doctors want to know about. So in the last 6 months, I've never had as many questions about digital dentures as we've had. And I think a lot of it is because the materials weren't there in the past few years until recently, to where we can have those long-term FDA approved products that we know are going to work for the patients. We do a lot of vetting ourselves and are involved with people like CRA and the companies to make sure these products are great. So anybody out there who wants an event, just let us know. And if we can't do a big event, we'll come to you guys personally, or we can Zoom in if you're out of town, and we can really go over anything people want to know. So I really want to be a resource for everybody, even if, we can't have an event on everything, as often as people want. So we always try and make these events too. I think it's super important. What I've learned in CE is we have really strong conversations with the people who do the events with us, that this is not a place to sell things. We really want to give information to our doctors that they can literally take back to their practice and use the next day. So we're really careful when it comes to that. We learned that early on, to provide really great information. And, it's not all about the speaker telling us how great they are, or that case is, and we've all been there, and it's great to see all of that. But so we really try and simplify these events to things that doctors can really use. And that's where the input's so valuable for us when we do these. We really need to know what they want. So
nice. Hey, I'm going to share the homepage. You guys see that okay?
yeah.
So this is the page that I'll link with the live stream for signing up and registering for the course. This is the one we're talking about here on March 21st, and there's a little register button, but really easy to sign up and register and pay to be part of this live event, which we're super grateful for. And Crown Council's going to help sponsor the CE. So grateful to have you guys as resource partners, and fun to make this announcement and have you guys part of it. So this is the best spot, right, to have everybody sign up?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, cool. Anything else? What did I miss?
We're excited to be partnering with you guys on these events. So tell Joey thanks again too. If he's out there listening. Thanks, Joey.
Thanks,
for all
Joey.
your help. Yeah.
Cool.
Well, thanks, guys.
Hey, appreciate you guys. All righty.
Yep,
Thanks so much.
Bye.
Okay, bye-bye. And I had them in the waiting room forever. They were supposed to come on at 11, so grateful that they kind of hung with us, and thankful for Diamond Head. They are awesome new resource partner, and thankful for everything that they're bringing to us. So let's bring in our last guest. He's been waiting in the waiting room for just a bit. Dr. Kemet's been waiting as hey.
How are you?
I wore that shirt yesterday.
You
I wish
did
we would have.
not.
I did. I wish we would have coordinated.
My day off shirt.
Thanks for being here. Grateful to have you. I know you've been with us. Have you been watching the show, or have you just been hanging out in the waiting room?
I've just been in the waiting room. I don't actually know much about this show, so I'm gonna have to learn a little bit more about this. So
all right, I'll tell you right now.
Crown Council.
So obviously, let's introduce you first. This is the best doctor to work for, ladies and gentlemen, in the Crown Council. I want to know, were you surprised, or were you like, did you have any idea? Come on.
I actually had no idea.
That's pretty fun.
It was you guys took it upon yourselves to keep me out of the loop on this one. So it was, even when Grace went up, my wife went up to announce the award, and I thought, oh well, she knows you guys, and she can command a crowd, and she'll be fantastic up there. I didn't know that she was going to do this, and so she started announcing this award, and I'm listening, I'm going, that could be me. And I looked at my team, and they're all looking at me with video cameras.
It's you, bro.
I had no idea. No, it was pretty cool. We've got a great team.
It was very fun. It was really fun to honor you. I'm part of the Young Dentist program, and it was equally as fun to honor our Young Dentist of the Year. It's just a fun thing to be recognized. And although at first you're kind of like, I don't want this recognition, this is awkward, I'm embarrassed. And then it is a really fun thing to be recognized by peers and your team and the people around you. So that's fun. Very good. All right. Well, welcome to the live stream. Welcome to our interview. This is our opportunity to connect with some of the members of the Crown Council and broadcast that story to all the community. So that's what we'll do here. Still a casual conversation. We're live. We've had a few guests on before you. But we coordinated a few questions. Did you look them over?
I did. I like an hour ago.
And thoughts on those questions? Okay, so we're good to just, okay. Let's just start then at the beginning. Well, maybe let's start before the beginning. Can you tell us a little bit about where you are now, where you're practicing, where are you coming from right now?
Absolutely. I'm in Minot, North Dakota. Not many people will probably know where that is. Just 60 miles from Canada, straight in the middle of the state. Yeah, we're up here. It's cold. It's like 0 today. Last week I had to yell at my kids because they're wearing shorts to school. So it was 60. So it's odd weather up here, but North Dakota is a great place to practice. When I came out of dental school in 2007, I always knew I wanted to go home to practice, which was North Dakota. I didn't know where. In fact, when someone told me I needed to go to Minot, I laughed and I said, no, that's not going to happen. But doing some research about the area, which is not always just looking and seeing how many dentists there are, how large the community is. I looked at the people, and these are my people. This is the type of place that I want to be. My son is shooting archery, learning how to shoot archery. He's 10 years old, and he's learning from a guy who taught at the Olympic level, and he just moved here from Sacramento, and he said, I got to get out of there. And so people are moving here now. I shouldn't say that too loud, but people are moving here now because of that. We are attracting people that want to be kind of out of that place where the country is not one. They don't want the country to go. And North Dakota is one of those great places that is still that last holdout, I think.
Well, it's my favorite part of your bio online. He wears cowboy boots and scrubs just because. There they are. Yes.
This is my day off, whatever. Right? I mean, it's comfortable, right?
Very good. Hey, well, will you tell us a bit about biggest influences, how you got into dentistry, how you chose it as a career? Can you tell that story?
Very odd. So my dad drills water wells his entire life. He has a double degree in English and history. And he drills water wells. He's a contractor basically for a living. I did that growing up. I was 11 years old. I mean, driving trucks, people think that that's silly, but that's what I was doing literally at that age. I'm 6'7", so it didn't look odd, I guess, at the time. I've never been pulled over, so that's okay. But my mom is a nurse, and so a lot of my family members are nurses. So my sister's an RN as well. So you take this kind of, I would say, entrepreneurial, like I own my own business. Dad says I drill holes, I just charge more per foot. But here we are with medicine as well, taking things that are broken and fixing them. I mean, that's what our business does. He has built his own irrigation systems and drilling equipment, things like that. So I have this farmer mentality. I took that to dentistry, and in medicine, of course, it just makes sense. So that's how I literally approach everything. I'm able to look at something and go, but why is that happening? And if I wanted to fix that, what was the ideology in the first place? I don't want it to break. So that's where my focus really is in dentistry. And I think that's fairly unique.
Yeah, very unique. And when you a lot of this listeners that will share this with are young docs, learning from you, being mentored by you. Can you talk about some of the lessons you learned early on from your just as a dental student, time as a student, things that you did when you were early on learning the dentistry craft?
Basically, the big thing that is the takeaway is when you come out of dental school, take what you have received, which may not necessarily be how to prep a filling or how to prep a crown, but take that experience as I just gained this piece of paper. That is the most important thing that you have coming out of dental school, not the skills that you've learned, because those skills are nowhere near what a dentist needs and will have eventually. So take the piece of paper and use that to learn more. That piece of paper is your license to an opportunity to become the dentist that you want to be, because you're not going to be that person within 1 year, 3 years of being coming out of school. It's going to take a long time to hone your craft. A friend of mine's brother was 10 years out of school when we were in dental school, and I asked him, I said, so do you think that you're kind of at the place that you want to be right now? And he was about 10 years in to dentistry, and he said, no, not there yet. He was still learning at 10 years. And so here I am at 17 years and I'm still learning. So
Nice.
I don't know where the top, middle, bottom of my career is, but if you take that every day and say, I'm going to take a percentage of my income or whatever it is, and I'm going to focus on putting it back, not into the business, but into myself, that will pay dividends in the future. Yeah, that's probably my biggest advice.
Nice. I love that. So when you graduated, can you tell that story? Where and how did you decide? What happened? Where did you work? And what did you learn from those first few years when you graduated dental school?
So as I said, I graduated from University of Minnesota in 2007, and I actually chose University of Minnesota because when I was shadowing different dentists, the ones that I felt that were the most confident to do all procedures were seemingly coming out of Minnesota. We have a lot of dentists from other parts of the country. We don't have our own dental school here in North Dakota. So I kind of chose the school based on what I was seeing in the communities. And when I graduated from there, I was able to actually went into the Indian Health Service. I kept telling myself and others, I suppose, that in 5 years, I want to be where I'm going to be, but that's not now. And so, as I mentioned at the outset of this, or the onset of this interview, is that you don't know a whole lot coming out of dental school. And I didn't want to be practicing on my friend and perf a tooth, and now we have to place an implant, and or whatever it is, because that's all part of the learning process. Medicine's the same way. So you go and you do a residency or whatever it is, and you learn under the tutelage of somebody else. And so that was one of my big drivers for going into the Indian Health Service. I did about a little over 2 years in South Dakota. I was invited to join a residency program, which I did with Cherokee Nation in Oklahoma. And then after that, I went back to Minnesota, did 2 years in Minnesota. And that was I was working not only in a private practice, a large group private practice, 5 owners, me as the lone associate, a couple of specialists that came in every other week. I was also moonlighting at Children's Dental Services 2 days a week. And so I was working 6 days a week, and I kind of saw this shift of political issues in Minnesota. And even though I went to parochial high school in Minnesota, I lived in a dormitory in high school, believe it or not. And so that was I almost felt like at home in Minneapolis, but I decided I had to get out of there. I had to go home. And so that was when I made the move back up to North Dakota. I purchased a practice from a retiring dentist here
Okay.
in 2012. It was one of those things that I called 3 different people in the area. And one said, well, I don't know if my son's coming here and he's got a friend that's coming here. They're just graduating from school. And he even said, yes, old guys, we could really price the young guys out if we wanted to, because we don't have a whole lot of expenses. And he's telling me this on the phone, like basically trying to tell me, no, don't come. Guys, I try not to speak ill well. So but holds high political position in the state, let's just say that. Another guy who's just down the hall from me, actually, which he said, absolutely, would love to have you. Love that phone call. And then I talked to a third one who was actually down the hall as well. And he said, and he was an orthodontist, and he said, you know what? I might have an option for you. He said, let me talk to this guy that I think might be ready to retire. And he said, if he calls you back, buy his practice. And that's how it happened. He had this old practice that was, 3-op practice. He had about 360,000 in production every year, and I bought it for 165 cash and put every technology into it. It didn't come with a computer. I didn't buy the records. There was nothing here except old equipment, and the patients that were loyal. So I put in, new ADEC chairs and electric handpieces and sterilization and a Sirona cone beam and CEREC. I was already a CEREC mentor at the time. And of course, computers. And took out the film processing room. And I did it for probably under 600,000. And within a few months, my bank projections had just lined up. And at that point, the bank said, do what you want to do. We're happy. We don't get anyone that gets these projections and hits them spot on or exceeds them. And so I was able to do basically anything I wanted at that point. 8 months in, I knew I needed to grow that small little 3-op practice, 1,500 square foot practice. But that was the height of the boom in North Dakota. And you guys remember the oil boom in 2014, 13? It was crazy up here. There was not a place to rent, and the land was more expensive than Toronto. So you couldn't buy land, you couldn't build. There was no people to build the practice up here. We had just gone through a large flood, and so there were no contractors you could pay, even at double the rate. And so people thought that I was coming up here to make money off of them. So there was this really bad feeling of like, oh, he's just here to make money off of me, even though I could have built the same practice in Minneapolis for half the price. And I came up here, and the price that I was charging people was 20% less than Minneapolis. I came up here because of the people, and they were the ones saying that I'm a foreigner, even though I'm from North Dakota. It was just a very odd situation. So here I am 8 months in designing a practice, and I was finally into that practice, the one I'm currently in now, in 2014. So it took 20 months from the time I bought the practice until I built a brand new practice, 9 operatories built for 2 full-time working dentists. It was one of the contenders for ADA Practice Design of the Year. I designed it from my head, and an architect who was just kind of up and coming at the time. Now he's built 4 or 5 of the best practices in North Dakota now. And so it's really cool to just be part of this community of not only architecture in North Dakota, but just dentistry in general. So just really happy.
When you look back at that whole process from dental school to where you are now, would you do it different, or advice to a young doctor just exiting dental school who's like, I'm going to work for a health clinic and then I'm going to buy my own practice? Is that a good route? Would you advise that to someone?
Okay, so here's let's get personal.
Okay.
I will say that I have talked to many dentists who have said, man, I would love to join your practice. My wife won't let me move. My husband won't let me move. There's no way that I could take my kids out of the place that I'm at, because they came out of school and they said, well, here's where we are, and we'll do this for a while. And for a while, all of a sudden tied them in to the system in that area. So coming from my experience, minor things, I would do minor things differently. But very, very few. I think the thing that I was able to do is I was single. So I didn't have anything or one to tie me down. And that's something that everybody has to take into account, I believe. If you think that I really want to go rural, we're not rural. We got a town of 50,000 people. We got anything and everything you want. But if someone says, no, but I like being in this municipality, this town of 500,000 or 1 million people, that's what I want, then that's where you're going to stay. So to be able to say, I'm going to do this for 3 or 4 years, and then I'm going to go do what I want, make sure your partner's on board with that. Because I've tried to attract people here, and to a person, I can't go to North Dakota. I want to be in Virginia. I want to be in California. I want to be in, a larger city, something like that. So I would just say, talk it over. Really, really strong conversations with your spouse, because your spouse needs to be on board with anything that is in your career. We travel a lot in North Dakota, and I can be chairside with a patient at 10 after 4 and be on a 5:10 flight. That's taking off. Stuart, you laugh because it's like, really? Like, I live in Minneapolis, but I'd have to take half the day off to get to a 5 o'clock flight. Here, I really almost don't have to, but we do travel a lot here. And if you want to, we say we make hay when the sun shines, right? So when it's cold out, what else are you going to do? We're going to do dentistry, and we do a lot of great dentistry around here. But we also play. We go to Arizona, we go to Florida, whatever. I mean, you just hop on a plane and go, or drive. It's just longer. So nice. I think a good friend of mine, he lived in Colorado, and he ended up moving to a smaller town in Duluth at the middle of his career. And I asked him why, and he said, I found out that when I always wanted to live in the mountains. He said, I'm a skier. I love that. He said, I found out that I was never able to, because I couldn't get away from my practice. I'd be on the mountain and a patient would call. That's why I'd have to leave. And so he said, I literally had to move away so that I could be intentional about going back. And he said, I ski way more than I ever was able to living close to the mountain. And he lived in Golden, I believe. Yeah. So just little things like that you would never think of until the issue arises.
Yeah, very good. Hey, if listeners missed the beginning of our conversation, Dr. Kemet was nominated and then voted the best doctor to work for at the Crown Council annual event a couple weeks ago, which was I loved it. It was so fun to have you on stage. Can you talk about? I mean, when the award comes through, best doctor to work for, that has to revolve a bit about more your team, really, and what they think of you. Can you talk about that, your philosophy of care, the culture of your practice? How did you build how you treat your team and your patients? Where does that come from?
I think I run my practice based on my personality, whether we're in the back singing and dancing or whatever we're doing. I want my team to always feel that they're the priority. The team, the patients, they always see me picking up stuff. It's the leaders eat last type of mentality. That's what I've always thought about. That's the way I run my life. And so if I hear about somebody that is falling on hard times, in dentistry, we have a lot of women that work for us. I have a couple of divorcees in our practice, and one of them, she had moved out of her house, got a divorce, and she bought a house that was poorly built. And it was a new condo, and it was just the contractor was run out of town type of thing. Leaking this, mold here, there, whatever it was. And so she had to buy a new roof and didn't know what to do. There was $4,000 in her paycheck. And I just had to put it there. And I didn't tell her about it. And then, just, I knew that I had the ability to help her. And then so I did. 6 months later, my daughter got into a car wreck, and now I have this car wreck bill, and she's not telling me this stuff to get money out of me, but throw a couple of grand in her paycheck. It's like these things come back to us. Those are the people that typically won't go somewhere else for $1 an hour. If you think about if they're working for you for 1,500 hours a year, it's $2 an hour, it's $3,000 a year. So it's a $2 an hour bump that you just gave them for $3,000 or whatever. I mean, you think about silly numbers like that. If it works for your practice, if it works for you, how many of us spend a lot of money on silly things? Spend it on your team. Those little things will come back. So we get a lot of snow here once in a while. This year we actually did get much snow, but I would always ask them, like, how's your driveway? Do you need help? And it's just one of those things that I would drive around and do their driveways, and be out at 4:30 in the morning doing their driveways, just because that was a big deal. If they could get onto the road, they could get to work. And so a lot of times they couldn't get on the road because the snowplow pushed them in. So there it was.
I love that story. That one of those, and I got to ask, I wanted to ask her at the snowblower or shovel, Dr. Kemet?
Snowblower.
Okay.
I mean, I'm 6'7". I got to save my back.
I want to make sure you're not warming your back up for the day.
Yeah.
So, okay,
Yeah.
good.
But it's just a little one, but it's a snowblower.
Very good. Hey, looking back, can you talk about anything that you wish you would have known that you would tell a young new doctor starting out before you got into this profession? And anything that you're back, you're talking to Dr. Kemet, he's 21. What are you going to say to him? What advice do you give to that young doctor?
Dentistry is a tough profession. One of the things that is so hard for me is that I take insult as injury. If someone is whispering about me in a fashion that I didn't say that, that is probably the key point that really bothers me. And I want to defend and say, I didn't say that. And sometimes you have to let it roll. And so you just have to have this thick skin and to know that I wouldn't be that person. I wouldn't say that. And so it really goes into the be and practice who you are in your heart every day. Be that person, because your patients will know it, your team will know it, and whatever's said about you, everyone will defend you if that's the case. And one of the things that I had that really, so the reason I joined Crown Counsel, to be 100% honest, a really close friend of mine, Dr. Ben-Gar, many of you guys know him.
Yeah.
He's the only other Crown Counsel dentist in North Dakota. We were talking one day, traveling together. We typically take CE together, and I was going through something very difficult. I was actually going through a divorce, and it was so hard on me because that's exactly that insult was my injury. And he told me, you need to get away. You need to come with us. And that was when we had the very first fishing trip. And because it was postponed 1 year, if you remember. And then so the next year in 21, it was on, and there was a spot. And so I joined. And it's those friends that I needed. I needed to be able to be part of this group that helps me get through those insults. To say, I know that's not you, but I know you, and I know you really well. Some of my closest friends are now part of this group, or they've always been part of this group, but now I'm very good friends with them as well. So that's where you need to focus, is focus on finding those people that are part of a support group for you. Dentistry is a hard profession. People are gonna rip you apart. You need people around you to help support you mentally, to be honest.
I love that. I want to share my screen. So this is my desktop. This is one of my most favorite pictures from the annual event. So I love this picture. When you are coming up to stage to receive your award, I am sure you're pointing at your now wife.
Yep.
Because she was kind of the one behind the award. But I just love that picture. I can tell a lot's going through your mind, but just so fun to.
It was so fun.
That was awesome.
And that's exactly it. I was pointing at her saying, "You got me."
That's so fun.
The silliest part about that was you guys had teleprompter practice. So if you remember that,
We did.
And she is not afraid of anything. So she jumped up there first to do the teleprompter practice and probably won some hearts over just by being the first to volunteer. She told me in front of Dr. Gar that there was a spouses meeting, and he looked at her and said, "Huh?
No, there's not.
I didn't know about this. Sonali's here. My wife is here. We didn't know about this." And she's like,
Oh,
"Don't say it. Not a spouses meeting."
So good.
Oh, she got me good. I'm telling you, it was.
I got to show one more. We put this picture on the back of next year's brochure. I thought this was so fun. Look at your fun team throwing their hats.
Yeah.
Like, it's just so cool.
Yeah, you guys are awesome. They were very excited to see those pictures. So
really fun. All right. Hey, well, one last question as we're coming in for a landing.
Yeah.
Do you have any, this question is kind of like what comes next for you? What are your goals for changing dentistry or changing your community or your team? What's next?
I started a school for dental hygiene, dental assisting in North Dakota. I'm hoping it's going to go through. It's got some changes and some hard knocks to start up, I guess, but I'm hoping it's going to be okay. Honestly, you had mentioned that changing the face of dentistry. I want people to understand how important dentistry is to medicine. And we look at, what is nature versus nurture? What does our DNA tell us that we should look like, how we should be? Look at all the ailments that are in the United States right now. Autism rates are going through the roof. I mean, we think about all the allergies and the things that we're almost saying it's okay that, oh, this child has a peanut allergy, whatever it is, and this person has autism, and it just happens. What are we doing? And is there something that dentistry can be part of in this conversation? There's a great doctor that he's a sleep surgeon, the neurologist, and he in 2017 had a TEDx talk talking about how he looks in the mouth as a predictor for the future. Before any sleep study, before he's looking at any brain waves while they're sleeping, I want to see what's happening in the mouth, because I can predict, he says, he can reliably predict issues 15 to 20 years ahead of anybody in medicine. Well, we do that. And so we're trying to hope that in the future, we're able to be brought into this medicinal realm and say, what can we do about the future? And how is dentistry not the evil, ugly stepchild of medicine, but we're actually medicine? You can't feed this garbage and have a healthy body. You can't be healthy in one spot and unhealthy in another.
I love
So
that.
that's what I'm hoping the future and where the future lies in dentistry. And I hope to be part of that conversation. Again, it kind of goes back to my roots. Um, how does somebody who is a farmer, a well driller, a son of a nurse, able to help that? I think I'm in a unique position to sit back and kind of go, I think this correlates over here, and then we find the research to back that up.
Yeah. That is inspiring advice. I mean, we're talking to Steve, and when he talks at the Total Immersion seminars, he talks about dentistry being the front lines of health. That besides the pharmacists, dentists are the profession in medicine that people are going to regularly and taking advice from. So I love to hear that. That's I agree. That is how the face of dentistry changes. So very good.
100%.
Anything we missed? What else?
No, thank you for having me on. I appreciate the opportunity, and yeah, just appreciate you guys for being part of my life for the last 3 or 4 years now.
We're grateful for you. Thanks for sharing. I know you spent an hour on your day off. Come on, everyone. We got to get means a lot. So I'm grateful for you. All righty, everybody. Say goodbye, Dr. Kemet. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you around. Thanks. What a good guy. I want to work for him. That was awesome. And he's shoveling walks. What a good dude. Grateful for him. Thankful for his cowboy boots. Fun to recognize him as best doctor to work for. I'm going to edit that little interview and make sure that it's available online for you and your teams to listen to. And we'll share it obviously with our Young Dentist program to be inspired by Dr. Kemet. Thankful for him and his team, and grateful for everybody for tuning in. I can't believe how fast that hour went. So we'll be back next week. Looking forward to hearing from Steve on our more of a webinar rather than live stream. So we'll see you on the 14th. And thanks for tuning in today. All right, everybody. Bye.